Welcome to episode 130, Spotlight, Contingency Plan Testing, where we explore how structured testing transforms contingency plans from paper documents into real operational capability. The CP-4 control recognizes that a plan, no matter how thorough, means little until it is proven under stress. Testing builds confidence, exposes weaknesses, and teaches teams to coordinate under pressure. A well-designed exercise turns theory into instinct, showing whether recovery timelines, communication flows, and decision paths truly work. By practicing before a real emergency, organizations ensure that their response feels practiced, not improvised. Testing, in this sense, is both a technical audit and a rehearsal of human readiness. Building from that foundation, defining test types and objectives is the first step toward meaningful outcomes. Each test must have a clear purpose: to verify a process, train personnel, or measure performance against recovery targets. Objectives might include restoring a critical system, validating contact trees, or assessing coordination between internal and external responders. Without defined goals, exercises risk becoming unfocused or symbolic. For example, running a simulated outage simply to check the box teaches little. When objectives align with actual business needs, participants engage sincerely and results translate directly into improved capability. Clarity of purpose is what separates testing from demonstration. From there, selecting the right format determines the depth and realism of the exercise. Common formats include tabletop discussions, functional drills, and full interruption tests. A tabletop exercise walks participants through a scenario verbally, testing decision-making and communication in a low-impact environment. Functional tests go further, executing selected processes, like switching to an alternate site or restoring backups, without halting production. Full interruption tests simulate total loss, forcing teams to operate from backup systems under real conditions. Each type serves a different maturity level. For instance, an organization new to contingency planning may start with tabletop sessions before advancing to functional or full-scale drills as confidence grows. Building upon that variety, scenario selection must be grounded in real risks rather than generic hypotheticals. Scenarios should mirror threats the organization could plausibly face, such as a regional power outage, cyber attack, or major supplier disruption. Choosing realistic events ensures relevance and engagement. For example, a data center-dependent enterprise might practice a network failure, while a healthcare provider might simulate a pandemic surge. Tailoring scenarios to actual vulnerabilities teaches participants how to apply the plan's provisions under contextually believable pressure. By anchoring exercises in lived risk, the results carry more weight and foster readiness rather than mere compliance. Once scenarios are chosen, defining success criteria and observation checklists makes evaluation objective. Success might mean restoring a specific system within its recovery time objective, maintaining communication accuracy, or completing decision escalations within a set window. Observation checklists help evaluators capture facts rather than impressions: who was notified, when key actions occurred, what decisions were made, and whether documentation followed policy. For example, a checklist might include verifying that the incident commander activated the plan within 5 minutes of detection. Objective measurement turns subjective experience into actionable data, ensuring that outcomes can be compared, trended, and improved over time. From there, controlled complexity enters the picture through injects, contingencies, and decision pressure. Injects are scripted surprises introduced during a test: unexpected data losses, communication failures, or policy conflicts, to observe how teams adapt. They prevent exercises from becoming predictable recitations of the plan. Contingencies test improvisation within acceptable boundaries, ensuring flexibility without chaos. Decision pressure, applied through time limits or ambiguous situations, simulates the stress of a real incident. For instance, an inject might simulate conflicting reports about system status, forcing leaders to decide whether to proceed with failover. These dynamics reveal true readiness, as theory yields to real-time judgment. Building on that realism, testing must measure how well teams communicate, fulfill roles, and manage handoffs. Even the best technical procedures can fail if messages are missed or duties overlap. Observers track whether designated spokespeople relay consistent information, whether alternates step in smoothly, and whether updates reach all relevant groups. For example, a communications lead might need to brief executives while the technical team works independently. Smooth transitions between these functions demonstrate maturity, while gaps indicate where cross-training or clearer definitions are needed. Testing these interpersonal elements ensures that recovery coordination works as reliably as the technology itself. Continuing that alignment with measurable outcomes, exercises should explicitly validate recovery time objectives and recovery point objectives. By recording how long it takes to restore a function and how recent the recovered data is, teams learn whether established targets are realistic. For instance, a drill might reveal that restoring a database within 4 hours is possible, but recovering its dependent application requires 6. Such findings inform revisions to targets or architecture. Testing real recovery against defined expectations connects planning theory to operational truth. It also produces tangible metrics that auditors and executives can use to assess resilience maturity. Once execution concludes, recording gaps, issues, and remedies becomes the bridge between performance and improvement. Observers document not only what failed, but why: missing documentation, delayed decisions, or misaligned dependencies. Each issue should be accompanied by a proposed remedy and a severity rating. For example, if an alternate contact number was outdated, the fix might include updating directories and instituting quarterly reviews. Capturing lessons in structured form prevents them from fading with memory. The gap log turns testing from a one-time event into a continuous learning process that sharpens readiness with each iteration. From there, accountability takes shape through assigned owners, deadlines, and retest windows. Every identified issue must have a responsible party to implement its correction. Deadlines prevent lingering exposure, and scheduled retests verify that remedies are effective. For instance, if a communication delay was traced to unclear escalation criteria, the retest might focus solely on notification timing after that process is revised. This structured follow-up ensures that findings translate into measurable change rather than well-documented inaction. Assigning ownership also builds a culture of accountability, signaling that contingency performance is a shared, ongoing responsibility. Building on documentation discipline, organizations must capture all supporting artifacts, logs, recordings, timing evidence, and communications transcripts. These materials form the factual record that substantiates both performance and compliance. They help analysts reconstruct the event for after-action review, identifying correlations that may not have been visible in real time. For example, time-stamped log entries can show whether delays stemmed from technical or human factors. Preserving this evidence also demonstrates due diligence to auditors, regulators, or insurers. Comprehensive artifact management turns fleeting performance into permanent institutional knowledge. Extending upward, test results should be synthesized into an executive readout that drives improvement commitments. Senior leaders need more than raw data. They need interpretation and recommended actions. A concise report summarizes objectives, successes, failures, and next steps, highlighting resource or policy gaps that require attention. The readout becomes a catalyst for funding, prioritization, and cross-department collaboration. When executives see testing as a learning investment rather than an audit formality, the organization gains both transparency and momentum. Leadership engagement ensures that lessons evolve into lasting improvements rather than isolated observations. Building on repetition, trending outcomes across repeated exercises shows whether resilience is improving. Comparing current performance to prior results reveals progress in timing, coordination, and confidence. Over time, this trending data becomes a living measure of maturity. For example, a company might track reduction in recovery time across quarterly tests or improved participation rates among departments. Such trends prove that contingency planning is not static. It matures through practice. The goal is not perfection in one test, but continuous strengthening of the organization's ability to absorb disruption. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.